Hey y'all, it's your girl Nick. The title of today's session is Love and Marriage. Let's get into it because you know it's going to be good. So I basically want to share my thoughts and perspective on marriage as it pertains to love and love as it pertains to marriage. We all know marriage, my ladies especially, that concept, that way of life, that dynamic that we pretty much been conditioned to aspire to and low key, high key be obsessed with, right? That. So for me, that whole concept is an astronomical no for me. hmm hmm Astronomical. All right. Um, for a plethora of reasons. Me personally, it's a bit limiting for me, and it's just not compelling. Not really compelling. Um, I think, ladies, we really need to put our big girl panties on. We need to use our brain space. Um, about how we envision our lives, of course, for ourselves, um, but particularly in how it relates to men, the despicables. So, this battle of the sexes has been, going on since, pretty much a millennia. But particularly on social media, within the last, I'm going to say, decade or so, give or take, especially in the aspect of when we decided to, especially the despicables, when they decided to hit record on the camera and start talking into a mic. Right? You get me. Pretty much what I have to say about that is, think for yourself, okay? And be very discerning with the energies and perspectives and opinions and thoughts of others, okay? Even me, because we have seemed to forgotten that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. We seem have to forgotten how to really tap into our own wisdom and our own thoughts, because it's so much of this going on. It's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. Like the number one message that I want to convey on this channel is to think for yourself. That's why I always say take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay? Because ultimately the most important point of view is your point of view, right? The most important perspective as it pertains to your life and how you live is ultimately up to you. Okay? So just please, I beg, keep that in mind. Now, getting back to the subject of marriage, one thing's for certain, and two goddamn things for sure. The girl will not be getting married for love. You heard me right. The girl will not be getting married for love. No, no, no. I'm sure there will be love there in these, dynamics that I engaged myself in over time with the male species. I'm sure that there's going to be love there because, I'm not, if I'm going to engage with the male species, the dynamic and the relationship, of course, has to have some depth to it. I'm not a surface level girly. So, of course, all the things are going to come, with that. But love will not be the leading factor for me, if not really at all, right? Because what does love really have to do with it? Shout out to my girl Tina Turner. What does love really got to do with it, though? Yeah, think about that. If I ever were to be married or were to like consider marriage, for me, it would be spiritually. I could do that. We can write up our own little, and maybe we can write up our contract, spiritually, and it just be that. Because when it comes to the legalities of marriage, that's why it's an astronomical no for me. The whole process of getting a divorce can be tumultuous. It can be very diabolical, and if the girl was to ever, whew, God forbid, if the girl was to ever sign her name on the dotted line legally, best believe it's going to be for money. Best believe it's going to be for financial gain. Best believe it's going to be for financial benefit. Best believe that. I will at least like said man, right? Said despicable. I will at least like them, and I may have some love for them, and all the things. But for me to sign my name on a dotted line legally, financial benefit would be number one. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much the origin of of marriage, right? Back in the day, people wasn't marrying for love. In my opinion, marriage was used as a weapon, for women, because at one time we couldn't even open a bank account without having said man's last name. A lot of things we couldn't do because we weren't attached to said despicable. I try not to say it, but I can't help it. So that was used as a weapon, you know, and still is in some ways against women. So yeah, it's a big no for me. Let the girl make herself very, very clear. I don't depend on men for money. Mm-mm, no. Have I lived out the like new age indoctrination of date men for money, and the whole sugar daddy thing, and all the things of that nature? Yeah, yeah, I have. And yeah, no, wasn't for me. It's not compelling. The way my hyper independence is set up, the girl depends on herself for her own financial stability. Okay, because I don't like asking people for money. Like, it is so cringe. Had I been in a position to where I had to, yes, but still very cringe, very irritating. Don't recommend. But hey, we all need help sometimes, right? Whatever. I prefer to depend on myself for my own financial stability, for my own wealth. I don't depend on men for money, but I attract money from men. Catch it? Because there's a difference. I don't depend on men for money, but I attract money from men. Okay? And I'm gonna speak more on that topic at another time, right? Um, yeah, so that is why if the girl signs her name on a dotted line, best believe it'll be for business. And it just goes back to the origin of marriage. It was given business. And even still to this day, we have arranged marriages. We have marriages that are, transactional, business transactional. So um, I'm gonna go back to the origins on that one. I'm gonna go back to the origins on that one. Yeah, best believe when the girl signs her name on a dotted line, said man's wealth is going to be a bonus. It's going to be added to the girl's financial abundance. Point blank, period. Get that. I'm going to be considering those things for me to commit in such a way. Best believe the terms of that contract, the terms of that agreement will benefit me completely. Okay? Period. So said man gonna have to come incredibly correct for me to even consider signing my name on the dotted line. hmm I'm not marrying for love. That's super dead Fred. Okay? Love is free, but my energy is not. I am deeply invested in myself and my freedom and my peace, my autonomy. And for me to commit myself to that dynamic, it would take a hell of a lot for me to do that. And when I mean a hell of a lot, I mean a hell of a lot of money. Yeah, hell of a lot of money for me to consider that dynamic for myself. It's going to take a hell of a lot. So, and ladies, I encourage you to do the same. Yep. This concludes today's session of Neek Speaks. Please leave your comments below. Leave leave your experience in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. All the things. And yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your perspective and your opinions. And remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And think for yourself. All right, guys.